Okay, this is a video to show how to modify the second generation Xbox steering wheel to remove any play that's in the steering wheel. This movement gets caused by excessive wear inside, which reduces due to low quality parts basically, and means that the wheel's got a lot more movement. And if you continue to use the wheel in this situation, you'll break the wheel by snapping the plastic mountings inside. So this is a video to modify that and to fix a higher quality bearing to reduce this movement. Okay, to fix the bearing you've got to start by taking the entire wheel apart, and I'm going to go through this step by step. First I'm going to show this is the bottom of the steering wheel, and just some points to note are that there are 4 holes drilled in this one to hold it. It was bolted to a table, so if you haven't done that they won't be on yours, so ignore them. You've got six holes here that use Torx screws to hold it in place. They're the thing that Microsoft used to stop people, well, to try and prevent people tampering with the wheels. And basically, I've got a drawing of the screw head. If you've got the second generation, which is this wheel, you'll have this. The screws will have this head on them, and they've got a little pin that sticks out on the top to stop a conventional Torx screwdriver going on. Whereas the first generation ones are this layout without the pin. They're both a size T10 or Torx 10. That's the name of the screwdriver type. And as I don't know how good you can see on there, but they're the 2 different types. You can just about see the hole in one of them, and there isn't one in the other. And here I've got a screw that I've already took out, and you can see the little pin in there. Okay, and I'm going to go along there and unscrew all 6 of these screws one at a time and put them to one side. There's also 2 sneaky holes that they've hidden under this sticker that you'll have to poke through to get to. You can see in there and in there. So that's 8 screws in total.
It's a shut right if you're recording.
Okay, and then once you've removed that base plate, you've then got another series of screws to undo to get inside further. That's the next step. Okay, so I've just finished undoing all of them screws now, and I'm going to remove the bottom base plate, which you can see comes off pretty straightforward once you've undone all the screws. And then you've got these 2 grey side pieces which just slide out here. Okay, so then you've revealed all the circuitry inside. Now it gets a little bit more complicated, but it's still relatively straightforward from here. Okay, I've now flipped over the steering wheel and you can see the Allen keys on the face of the wheel here. You just need to undo all of these and remove this plate off the front. And there you go, you can see you just need to prise it off gently. It can be a bit fiddly, but and then you're revealing 4 more Allen key screws here, and these are usually done it pretty tight, so I'm going to turn it off while I undo these, but they're a bit of a struggle. But yeah, just you may need to get some pliers onto the Allen key to get some extra leverage on it. Okay, I finally got through all them Allen key bolts. They are pretty difficult to get off. Microsoft do them on as tight as they can. Okay, now I've undone all them Allen key bolts on the front of the steering wheel, and now you're going to have to turn the wheel back over. And you've got these 2 wires come out of the steering wheel shaft here, and you follow these down, follow these 2 here, and you need to unplug this socket here and that one there. Now I'm going to put it down and do a zoom in a bit more steady than this so you can see easier. Now I've got a zoom in on the motherboard and inside the wheel. Again, like I was saying, you've got the 2 wires coming out of the out of the shaft connecting to the driving wheel, and you're going to have to unplug these 2 here very carefully. The first wheel I took apart, got carried away and pulled it off, and I broke the soldering off, and that wheel happened to be broke already, so I wasn't too miffed off. But you do have to be very careful and make a note of which way around the colour wires are, just so you know that the green one's on the bottom here, and this one looks as though it'll only go in that way anyway, so that's okay. And then you need to get in. It helps with the screwdriver. Just get in there and that one came off quite straight. That was quite easy. Yours may not come off that easily. Prise them off and just put them out the way. Try and hold down the base of the socket so that it doesn't pull off from the board. Okay, it is fiddly. It does come out eventually. There we go. That came off quite straight. That's quite easy to get off. It worked then by getting in behind it at the back and flipping it off. Okay, so I've got both of them off now. And then you're going to have to feed these through the other wires here, being quite careful not to pull any of the others out. Now I'm going to feed these two wires through here and at the same time removing the steering wheel. And it is a bit fiddly. The heads on these wires can sometimes get a bit stuck, and you may need to get a screwdriver and poke them down. But that's all I'm going to do now. One thing I did just miss. There's one little earthing wire here that's screwed on to the metal plate here. I did miss that. You just got to. It's only one more torque screw. Undo that, and then the wheel slides out through the bottom here, as you can see. The heads here do get a bit stuck. You've got to feed them through quite gently. I'm just going to skip ahead while I do that. Now you can see I fully removed the wheel, unthreaded the 3 wires, and put that to one side now. And now you're left with just the main base unit. Now the next step you're going to want to do is you've got to take the metal base plate off that mounts the motor. You don't have to disconnect these wires. Once you've undone it, you can just tuck that out of the way. So I'm just going to get started undoing these. This actual wheel that I'm working on has broken as well. I didn't know this initially, but the plastic casing here, and you can just about see that in there, has cracked, and that's part of what's giving it so much wobble as well. So I'll go through repairing that as well as replacing the bearing in this video now. So all I'm going to do is undo these bolts now. These are other torque screws. I'm going to undo these and then I'll come back. There's one screw here that holds this circuit board in place. You have to undo that to get to these lower screws. It's quite simple, just undo the one screw and tuck it out the way. Makes it easier to access the lower screws. It's quite simple, just like that. And it allows you then to get access down here. I may have to do it with this one as well. Okay, that's 3. It's a bit fiddly, but I managed to get to this screw without removing that circuit board. Just if you've got a slightly larger screwdriver, you may have to remove it there, but it's not too bad. There we go. Now you can see that coming our way quite nicely. Just be careful, these wires are only quite loosely soldered on. You don't want to break them by being too rough with it. Okay, the innards have started to come out now. That's the bearing that we're going to be replacing. And this is one that I machined on a lathe that's made of a similar material, but it's just got a closer tolerance really to the fit of the steering wheel.